Yay Networks.
Welcome to A Sandwich and Some Lovin' podcast. I'm Kelly Raspberry Evans with my husband, Walter Allen Evans.
A train in the house.
Just thought I'd be formal tonight since I did all three of my names. We will do a little full disclosure here. We are watching on the screen in front of us the World Series, which is about to begin shortly as we're recording the podcast. It is what may be the final game in the World Series. Now, when the podcast drops on Thursday morning, the Rangers may already have won the whole thing, or they may have lost, and we're going back to Arlington. And here's my feelings on that.
Okay.
I kind of want them to lose tonight.
Whoa!
I know, but I think it's more fun to win the World Series on your home field.
I understand, but beggars can't be choosers.
I know.
I mean, these guys have
I don't
never won a World Series. Let's just get her done.
I know, but isn't it more fun to win on your home field?
It is, but I think it's more fun to win a World Series, period, than...
I know, but to have all your crowd there and your people, and I don't know.
I know, but
I don't want to risk them, coming back to Texas and then
right.
losing.
You don't want to give these turkeys any Arizona. I'm talking about. You don't want to give them any momentum. You don't give them any life.
I understand.
You want to put your heel on their throat.
No, I mean,
and choke them.
No, it's
yes,
not that
you do.
Serious.
Yes,
as that little 21-year-old keeps saying, baseball is fun.
No, this isn't a matter of life or death. It's more serious than that.
Oh my goodness! But anyway, hopefully the World Series champions will be the Texas Rangers, and not the other team. And we're sorry for people who are fans of the other team, but we don't want those people to win.
I don't know that we have a lot of listeners in Arizona. Our friend Charles, I believe, is in Arizona, and he's a Diamondbacks fan. Charles listens to the podcast and also is in the live studio audience a lot. So he's saying go Diamondbacks. But
do you want to talk a little bit about your efforts to go to Game 1 of the World Series?
Yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk a little bit about that. We are going to review your girls' weekend.
Yes.
Probably. I'm sure we'll do that.
Sure.
I want an explanation on the Pink Ladies. I'm still unclear as to what that was all about.
Why would you need an explanation? What's so hard to understand about the Pink Ladies?
Well, I never saw Grease, so I need
that.
So I need an explanation on the Pink Ladies.
But you knew it was from Greece, so there you go.
Just because you told me.
Well, it's the girl gang in Greece.
Well, we'll get into it.
Well,
we'll get into it.
99.9% of the people listening to the podcast know what I'm talking about.
Well, I think that's false. I don't think 99.9% know. I would say maybe 75% know.
I'd say higher.
I say lower.
Well, will we ever know? That's one of those things we'll never know.
We may review a little bit of the motorcycle trip that I took while you were doing Pink Lady stuff and shopping and whatever else you guys were doing.
Yeah.
Which I want to get caught up on what you were doing because I didn't get the full story. So we may do that. What else? You got anything else?
Well, I'm a little concerned because you just got back from a motorcycle trip.
Uh-huh.
And, I read an article today that made me not very happy about your chosen hobby.
Well, okay.
I might have to talk about that just a little bit.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Don't be reading stuff that's going to make you upset.
Well, it makes me a little nervous and anxious, I guess I would say.
I don't want you to be nervous and anxious. Okay. Yeah. So this is one of those podcasts where I'm coming in. I got nothing. So I'm just going to talk.
Oh, you do too. Got something. We're going to talk your motorcycle trip and baseball. What are you talking about? Okay. You got nothing.
Okay. Yeah. And then my attempts at going to Game 1.
And my girls stuff, my girls weekend from my friends. I've told you before that Annette and Tomi Jean were coming to see me from South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Oh gosh, that's really starting to get on my nerves a little bit.
What, when I say South Carolina?
Yeah.
What gets on your nerves more when I say South Carolina or that thing Al said this morning?
You and the South Kakalaki thing.
Then calling you a big white ball?
Yeah, that
please,
South Kakalaki
please review
thing.
For everybody who didn't hear that. What was that all about?
Heidi Klum, every year for Halloween, she does a big costume reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And her goal is to be bigger and better and more surprising and shocking or whatever, elaborate, whatever adjective you want to want to use.
Okay.
And this year, I will tell you, I was very underwhelmed. And I know that she put a lot of time and effort into it, but I was just extremely underwhelmed. Now, last year, she went as a worm, a giant worm. Do you remember seeing photos of that?
A worm?
A big worm.
Like an earthworm or inchworm?
She called it a water worm or something. I don't remember what she called it.
What? Like a fluke?
I don't know, honey. Don't bog me down with specifics.
Well, you said a worm.
It's a big worm.
I'm trying to visualize what type of worm.
Gigantic worm.
Like a night crawler?
I don't know. It did not have it had no legs.
King of worms?
And a crawler implies legs to me.
King of worms?
Nope. Don't want to play that.
I've already named 4.
I'm out. So anyway, she's this gigantic worm, and a lot of that means she had to writhe around on the ground a lot because that's what worms do.
One-eyed wonder worm.
And she made her husband dress up as the fisherman who had the worm on the end of his hook. Okay.
Okay.
So this year, she said she had she starts thinking about next year's costume on November 1st. The day after Halloween.
So she's already thinking about next year's costume.
Already,
because this is November 1st.
Right. She always has her party on Halloween, not the weekend before, on October 31st. And she said, in teasing it, she told Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, one of the Jimmys, that they were going to have to block off streets in New York City.
New York City?
For this costume.
Okay.
Now, when you hear that someone has to block off a street in New York City, what's the costume that comes to your mind immediately?
I got nothing.
Nothing. Really? Nothing.
What's the costume that comes to my mind?
Block off streets.
Superman.
Okay, well, that's why. Okay, we were thinking the Stay Puft Marshmallow from the Ghostbusters movie, the gigantic Stay Puft Marshmallow that marches around and destroys buildings.
All right.
Or
Superman.
King Kong, who overtook New York City.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
But why would you have to block off a street for Superman?
Because he's Superman.
But he just...
Didn't you see the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve?
He would just fly around and bang into buildings, you think?
Remember? He was flying around.
All right. Well, that's not where I thought you were going to go.
Okay.
I was thinking big things that take up a lot of space.
Okay.
Okay. That's what we were thinking on the Kid Craddock morning show.
Nationally syndicated.
Unlike my husband, who looked at me like a deer in the headlights when I said first thing that comes to your mind.
Speaking of...
And he came up with Superman.
We'll talk about deer on this podcast, too.
So anyway, the big reveal on Halloween was she's a peacock.
A peacock?
A peacock.
So
some people thought maybe it ties into the fact that she's on is it the X Factor? America's Got Talent, which is on NBC, which owns Peacock. Maybe she was paid to be a peacock. We don't know. But she said it came to her in a dream. And so she did this prosthetic where she had like a peacock head and neck. And then she wore a blue crushed velvet bodysuit. Very reminiscent of Mystique from the X-Men. So from the neck down, she's Mystique. Neck up, she is Peacock. For her feathers, they were Cirque du Soleil dancers who were dressed in like greenish, bluish costumes with feathers. And they would dance and pose around her. And that's why she shut down the streets of New York so these people could dance in the streets, I guess, and then come back and flock around her.
Why did we need to
pose.
shut down the streets of New York for this?
But it was pretty.
Was this sponsored by somebody?
That's what I just said. I said, we think it might have been sponsored by NBC because they own Peacock, but we don't know that for sure. Do you listen to some of the things that come out of my mouth?
No, because it made me tired about 2 minutes in. When we mentioned Heidi Klum, I just got real tired.
Okay.
So what's this got to do with Al's story on the Kid Craddock Morning Show?
Because that's what I'm getting to.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
So as I said, she made her husband last year for the worm be the fisherman hooking the worm. This year, Heidi made her husband dress like a peacock egg. So he's sitting there like a big white ball, literally a big white ball, sitting there on the red carpet of her photo shoot next to her.
Yes.
And I said, big white ball. And Big Al said, shout out for you. Ha, ha, ha. And thought that was the funniest thing he ever heard in his life.
And he did the Al won't stop laughing.
Me a big white ball.
Right.
And he gets hysterical laughing.
Which I thought was funny.
That's fine.
I thought it was funny.
That's fine. You can think that's funny. And then as I reminded Al that when Tomi Jean and Annette went to my mother's house on Monday for a bowl of homemade vegetable beef soup
Mm-hmm.
that my mother, because Annette wanted, the only thing she said specifically she wanted to do when she came to Texas was meet Big Al because he is so genuine and sweet and kind that my mother then said, you know who loves Kelly Raspberry? Nobody on that show loves Kelly Raspberry more than Big Al Mack, who just called me a big white ball.
Right.
And that's what Alan thought was so funny.
Your husband would never call you a big white ball.
But you liked that post and you laughed and you just said it was funny.
I thought it was funny. Because it was typical Al. It was real random, and then he starts laughing really hard at his own joke, which I appreciate.
Nobody laughs harder at Al's jokes than Big Al.
Walter A. Evans.
No, nobody laughs harder at Al's jokes than Al.
Wow.
That's the truth.
I laugh pretty hard at my jokes.
I'm saying, I didn't say nobody laughs hard at Alan's jokes. I said nobody laughs harder at Big Al's jokes than Big Al. That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is,
Nobody
who laughs harder at their own jokes?
Okay. Then Al. Al. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, oh my gosh. This podcast is sponsored by Relief Band, which is why I was fortunate enough to try one. Relief Band's the #1 anti-nausea wristband. It quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sicknesses, chemotherapy, so much more. If you get nauseated for any reason, you need Relief Band. It's natural, fast-acting. It lasts as long as you need it. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, with zero side effects. You just strap it on your wrist. It's like a watch band without a watch on it, but you adjust it to its vibration that works for you, and it's like magic. Relief Band treats and prevents nausea, so you can help avoid it from becoming a problem in the first place. I suffer from really bad motion sickness, as most do the people in the Raspberry family. I got sick one time backing out of a driveway. I wanted to throw up. So that's why I was really happy to have Relief Band. It kept me from getting seasick on our boat trip in Tampa this summer. It would have ruined everyone's day, especially mine. And if you're one of the lucky people who never gets nauseous, first of all, I'm envious, but Relief Band would make a great gift for somebody you love who does suffer. And with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, over 100,000 satisfied customers, it's a brand you can trust.
And remember, you don't have to overplan for nausea relief or dose up to 6 hours before a trip. Just bring your Relief Band and you're good to go. And right now, we've got an exclusive offer for A Sandwich and Some Lovin' listeners. If you go to reliefband.com and use promo code SANDWICH, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, RELIEFBAND.com, and use our promo code SANDWICH for 20% off plus free shipping.
A sincere thank you, Relief Band.
We love Relief Band.
I do. All right, so do you want me to, let's see. Well, I guess I'll dive into Tomi Jean and Annette's visit. They arrived on Friday. They flew in. I picked them up from the airport after we went to lunch for your mother's 80th birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Gosh, yeah, it seems so long ago. Yeah, we took my mom to Papado.
That's where we go for all of our special Evans family celebrations.
Yeah, my mom's 80 now. It's hard to believe.
Very sweet. She looks beautiful. You'd never guess she was 80 years old.
Oh, thanks.
But after lunch, I ran real quick to get the car washed because it's a little dirty, and I headed straight to the airport to pick up Tomi Jean and Annette. And it was so good to see them. We came back home, and it was Friday night. I'm trying to remember what we did. Oh, we went to Oak to Barbecue.
Yeah, all four of us.
Because I was trying to plan places. We had the new location Tomi Jean hadn't been to yet. She went to the original location. Annette had never been.
Annette had never been to Texas, right?
And in South Carolina, it's pulled pork barbecue. But here in Texas, it's mostly brisket. So I wanted her to see that. And, Alan went to dinner with us because the next day you were leaving for your motorcycle trip.
Mm-hmm.
So Alan took off and left us, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, but Friday night, what day were you trying to go to the World Series? I forget.
It was Friday night.
Okay, so
it was the night they got there.
Okay,
because remember,
you weren't going to go to dinner with us if you were going to go to the World Series.
Yeah, because I had hatched a plan that we were going to all go out to Texas Live, and then maybe get into the World Series.
Yeah, the standing room only tickets. That was the plan because Texas Live is the venue outside of where the Rangers play. And they were having a huge watching party.
Huge.
And we were invited to that. But then we started doing the math.
Yeah. So we have a friend who we mentioned on the podcast before, Patrick. Now, Patrick, he had a suite. He had a suite at the game. He purchased a suite, and he invited us to come to the game. Problem is, we had to get into the stadium somehow. And the only way we could do that was to buy standing room only tickets, right?
Yes.
Are you uncomfortable with this subject matter?
I didn't know if you were allowed to say all that, but go ahead.
Sure we are.
Okay.
Why wouldn't we be?
I didn't know. I was making sure.
Oh, okay. You look like you're.
I was afraid you weren't allowed to say.
It's like you're having a moment.
I'm not having a moment.
Oh, okay.
My moment's passed. If you said it's all right,
it's fine. Well, anyway, so Patrick just says, figure out a way to get into the stadium, and you can come join us in the suite. That was basically the plan.
Okay.
Problem number one: parking at Globe Life Stadium for the World Series. Face value parking passes are $60. They were being sold for in excess of $1,000 a piece.
Some more.
So that was problem number one. If we ride out to the stadium, we're gonna have to park somewhere. If we Uber out to the stadium, that's cool too. But then we're gonna have to Uber home somehow. Impossible to get an Uber after a World Series game.
Absolutely impossible. We would be out there for hours.
So we had a couple
Plus, it was supposed to be raining.
Yeah.
And we'd be walking in the rain for hours.
So we had a couple of issues there. The standing room only tickets at game time were going for about $800.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like seeing a World Series game in a suite for $800, we were thinking about it, but
times 4 of us.
Yeah.
Maybe Allen should go by himself.
Then we thought, well, yeah, maybe Allen can just go do it by himself. And then I thought, well, now I'm going to get up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to go on this motorcycle ride. I'll just watch it on TV.
Yeah, we just watched it on TV.
So we just watched it on TV.
And it was fine. And Tomi Jean and Annette became Rangers fans for the night, and they were all in. They were just as excited to watch it as we were.
Because, if you haven't been keeping up, the Rangers won the World Series game 1 by tying it up in the bottom of the 9th with a home run. And then they won the game in extra innings in the 11th inning with a home run.
The solo home run.
So it was just an amazing game. Lots of fun. And I saw videos from Patrick who posted on his Facebook. But it looked like a lot of fun. But we had a great time watching the game on TV. And we've been watching all the World Series games. They've been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we might have a new champion by the time this podcast drops. But Saturday, so Allen took off. It was raining. It was starting. A cold front was coming in. It wasn't quite cold yet, but it was starting to. The temperature was going down. In Texas, we've had a brutally hot summer, so we were very excited about the potential for cold weather. But when you have company coming from South Carolina, you don't want rain. And Annette, like I said, the only thing she wanted to do really on her list was to see Big Al at his bar in Waxahachie. So I'm trying to figure out what we can do. And there was a big festival going on. There's a TV show called The Texas Country Reporter. He's been on the TV here for years and years and years. And he's had a festival in Waxahachie for a couple decades now. And it's a main stage with country music artists, a lot of vendors and specialty shops. And so we headed that way, but real quick, I drove her through the grassy knoll so she could see where Kennedy was shot.
Oh, you went through the grassy knoll?
It's a very Texas thing to do.
What'd they think?
A very Dallas thing to do. Well, I told her, I said, we could do the 6th floor museum, but it's going to take a really long time, and we've got limited time.
Oh,
and
you got to go to
be
that
in there
museum.
in hours.
It's cool.
I still have never been, and I've lived here almost 30 years. But that's usually a school trip thing, right? We need to do that. You take me there one day. So anyway, we were going to drive through the grassy knoll area, but I told Annette, I said, you got to pay attention because it is fast.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving along and 10 seconds, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that was what we did. And you could see the big X on the ground where the spot where he got shot. And then that was it. We were out of there and headed to Waxahachie. I told her, I said, you want me to loop back around so you can see it again? She said, no, that was all right. So that's fine.
Okay.
So we went to Waxahachie. Big Al was there waiting with open arms, and we had lunch there. Mm-hmm. They said it was a really great burger. He had a limited menu that day.
Al's got good food.
It was a very limited menu.
He does have very good
because
food.
They were expecting big crowds. He had plasticware, and you drank your drinks out of a can.
Oh, really?
If you asked very nicely, you could get a glass, but I didn't want to bother Al. So I just drink my Diet Pepsi in a can. That was fine. So we did that. We went shopping, hung out. My friend Tara from 99.5 The Wolf was there. We hung out with her for a while. Then I threw the girls in the car and I said, let's go to Fort Worth. Because if you want, a lot of people think
Cowtown.
A lot of people think of Texas. They think cowboys, cowboy hats and boots. And the only place you're going to find that really around here is in Fort Worth, right?
Ain't no cowboys in Dallas.
Well, you might go to the country and western bars and you'd see some people. But if you really want a cowboy experience, you go over there because they have the rodeo and all that stuff.
I saw some real cowboys this weekend, but we'll get into that.
But I haven't been to Fort Worth.
Like real cowboys.
Except for like if I have a place to be, I go when I come home. Like if I have an event or, going somewhere. So I was like, I really don't know where to go. So I put in Sundance Square, which from what I remembered has a lot of walking around and outdoor music, but it was raining and kind of starting to get really chilly at this point. It wasn't raining, but it was kind of damp and chilly. The temperatures are falling. And we went to where Waze told me was Sundance Square, and it's just a bunch of office buildings. So I'm starting to kind of like panic because I
took you there before.
I don't remember. I mean, when I'm not driving and,
You remember we went, it was like a typhoon.
I do. But then I was like, I don't know where to go. So I thought Billy Bob's. And so I said, let's go there. So we got to Billy Bob's. It was about 5:30 and they don't open until 6.
Mm-hmm.
So we parked and went up to the door and it was locked. And they said, I said, is there a cover charge to get in? They said it was $20 a person because Scotty McCreery was going to be playing that night at 10 p.m.
American Idol?
Mm-hmm. And we said, well, we don't want to see Scotty McCreery. And I don't know if I want to pay $20 each for us to go in just for them to look around because they have the mechanical bull and they have a live rodeo and stuff like that inside Billy Bob's.
It's a huge place.
But that wouldn't be till like 8:30 and here it was 5:30.
Oh.
So I was like, well, let's go walk around. It looks like there's some stuff going on back there behind the building.
Okay.
I had no idea in all my 29 plus years living here where the Fort Worth stockyards really were. And there it was.
What'd you see?
I saw cowboys and covered wagons and longhorn steer. We missed the cattle drive. Apparently there's a cattle drive every day, twice a day. We missed that. But there were horses in the stall. There were steers out there. Annette got up on one of the longhorns and got her video and pictures taken.
She got up on a longhorn?
Yep. We went into a real country and western store to buy them some souvenirs. It was great. They had steakhouses down there.
Mm-hmm.
The lines were really, really long. But it was great. I'd never even seen that before. And I've been here forever. So
yeah,
it was
I know.
the first for
There's
me.
a lot. Fort Worth has a lot to offer. It really does.
I was very ashamed
Lots
of
of
myself.
cool stuff over there.
But after we did that, we came home and we went to Mi Cocina and got Mexican food. That's what they wanted was some Tex-Mex.
So you blew off Joe T. Garcia's?
Yeah, because with Joe T. Garcia's, you have to stand in line, and it was kind of chilly and damp and miserable, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, good
so
call.
we came back to Mi Cocina's because I know that's good.
Which one did y'all go to?
The one we usually go to over there with the water off of Spring Creek in Preston. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. Then the next day,
our local Mi Cocina.
Our local Mi Cocina. Then the next day, they wanted to go watch a football game at a sports bar.
Football.
To be like around the spirit, But the problem with that was I invited a big group of people, and it was like, how do we get seats together for a Cowboys game? And Bad Influence Jeff was there. I've never seen him. He was so anxious and nervous, trying to make sure everybody had a seat.
What was he nervous about?
Everybody was saying something. He was acting like a mother hen, trying to get everybody seated. He was very anxious and worried, counting seats and pulling up tables and
Good
stuff.
Lord.
Yes, he was very concerned. But then we watched the game, and the Cowboys killed. Was it the Chargers?
No.
Who'd they play? The Rams. Killed them.
They did.
And when it's that lopsided of a game,
wasn't even fun to watch.
It wasn't even fun to watch because
Yeah.
it's like there's no anxiety and nail biting and tension. And when there's a score, that everybody erupts and cheers because it was such a blowout.
We them boys.
We still had a good time.
Super Bowl?
No, but it was still a good time. I won't say that. And then they wanted to just come home because it was, again, here comes the rain. It was starting to get chilly and stuff. We chilled a lot at home.
Mm-hmm. A lot of visiting?
A lot of visiting. And that was Sunday. Oh, on Monday, okay, we're going to get into Halloween, but really quick before I dive in, because I've been talking a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to talk some more in a minute.
Mm.
But You know, Alan and I have talked a lot that we don't get a lot of sleep. Neither one of us. Our sleep schedules are terrible. It affects our health, our moods, our marriage when we're both really testy. But we don't want just more sleep. We want great sleep. And that's why we're excited. Our podcast is now sponsored by Soul. Soul was founded 4 years ago by a brother and sister, Mike and Angie Lee. He's a former world-ranked professional boxer. She's an author and professional speaker. And Mike and Angie wanted to create natural alternatives to medication that tackled the problems they were dealing with, like sleeplessness, anxiety, focus, and pain, just like things we're all experiencing. And that's when they created Soul, a line of CBD products that help you with your pain, your focus, your sleeplessness. Their best-selling sleep aid is called Sleepy with an I, because that's cute. You'll fall asleep faster, you stay asleep longer, you wake up feeling refreshed. Sleepy is jam-packed with the highest quality ingredients. It comes in 3 delicious flavors: blueberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade, and honey chamomile. Sleepy and every other Soul product goes through multiple rounds of stringent third-party lab tests, so you know you're getting an accurate dosage, no heavy metals, no pesticides, or harmful bacteria. Take a quick 45-second quiz, that's it, and you'll figure out which Soul product is best for your unique needs. You really love the Sleepies.
Well, you know, babe, I've had issues with stress and sleeplessness my whole life, but definitely for the last few years. But I finally found a natural product that helps solve those problems, and I'm feeling like myself again. So now it's time to feel like you again with Soul. So head to getsoul.com/sandwich and use code SANDWICH for 20% off your order. That's 20% off your order using code SANDWICH. One last time, babe. Getsoul.com/sandwich and code SANDWICH for 20% off.
Thank you, Soul, for giving me my husband back.
Hey, can you tell me why chamomile is spelled CH?
I don't know. Why is Christmas spelled CH? Because Christ is still in Christmas.
But it's pronounced
in this house.
chamomile, isn't it?
Well, so it's Christmas, CH.
I visited we'll get back to your finishing up your story here, but I visited a town this weekend called Lakey, and I was corrected several times online and by people that I met because I was calling it Leaky because it is spelled Leaky.
I can see the confusion.
When I see that word, one Walter A. Evans says leaky. I don't say lakey, I say leaky.
And you're wrong. I understand.
Like when I see Favre, I say Favre. I don't say Farve. Why do we have to make things so complicated?
English. So Halloween was on Tuesday, but Monday night, Annette also wanted to go to a Halloween party.
Okay.
And
So how was the? I want to hear about this. How was the party?
You know how? I don't know if y'all know this about me.
No, we know.
I'm not really into Halloween.
No, you like.
I love giving out candy.
You've killed all my joy for Halloween.
I love giving out full-size candy bars.
Mm-hmm.
I love being that house. I'm not into dressing up, but I will for Alan's sake.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't even here.
We've done it twice.
But I do it for you. So anyway, Annette was sending, we were going to do a group costume. She thought that would be easiest. And she kept sending, she did like a hippie costume and nobody said anything. And then when she said pink, she showed the pink lady jacket. Tomi Jean said, that's great. We'll do that. So ordered the pink lady jackets off Amazon. It's like 20 something bucks. You got the pink lady's jacket, a neck scarf, a hair tie thing for your hair, 2 pairs of cat eye glasses, 1 pink, 1 black, and 2 pairs of stud earrings that I didn't wear. They were just little tiny,
Who are the
tiny
pink
studs.
ladies?
The pink ladies are from Greece. They're the girl gang in Greece.
Okay. And what do they do?
And they just rule the school.
Oh, okay.
They rule the school.
So they were high school students.
They were high school students in Greece.
Oh, okay.
And Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta were in the
Okay.
movie. She was an Australian exchange student, and the pink ladies took her in.
So ONJ was a pink lady.
Yes. So anyway, I was asking my friend John about, where can I, there's a big gay street party in Dallas on Saturday night. I said, that might be a lot to take Annette to. I said, I'm looking for maybe something not quite.
Do you mean like a really happy Street
No,
party?
gay, like gay people. It's
Oh.
the gay. It's like gay pride. It's the gay.
Oh,
it's
okay,
in the
okay.
neighborhood.
I'm with you now.
It's very well known. This is the gay outdoor Halloween, and it's fine, but it's just maybe it might be a lot. So, he said there was this restaurant we love that Emma Kelly and I used to go to all the time when she was a little girl, and the guy that plays piano there would always sing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," and I would dance with her.
You want to give us a little bit?
No, and he remembers it. I remember it. Emma Kelly can't remember it at all, and it's heartbreaking, but it's one of our favorites called Torelli's, and they shut down on Monday nights and do a private party for their clients and stuff. And John said, why don't we go to that one?
Mm-hmm.
And John said he would get in on the group contest with us and his husband Mark, and so they ordered Pink Lady costumes as well. And John went a step further and ordered a poodle skirt, and then they wore these big molded wigs, and it really
Where
made
did they get those molded wigs? Because those were classic.
They got them, I think, from Gay Ski Week or Gay Wine Week. They were using them as table setters.
They already had them?
Yeah.
Oh.
We have costumes here. We have wigs here. They just happen to have these two wigs.
Yeah, but what a coincidence that they would have Pink Lady wigs.
Well, they weren't Pink Lady wigs. They were just wigs.
Oh.
Pink Ladies just were girls from the 50s. So they just had regular,
okay.
hair.
Okay.
But anyway, so they put on these wigs, and it was really great. And there's something about, like, if I go to a party by myself as a Pink Lady, that's okay. But when you go in as a group, when we walked in together, all five of us, and you got two guys in drag, people were loving it.
It was a funny bit.
People were loving it.
The pictures were great.
It was really fun. And there were blackjack tables. Tomi Jean and Annette and I were, the dealer was, when it's for fun, they actually sit there and teach you the rules.
Did you win?
Yeah, I did really, really well. And so that's what we did. And then after that, we just went shopping, eating, did the cul-de-sac thing where we hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters, had about 200 kids this year. I bought for 260 because last year I bought for 200 and ran out. So this year I bought for 260, and we only had about 200 kids. So anyway,
So what happened to all the rest of the candy?
Well, I give out full-size candy bars. That way I can keep track of how many kids we have. And some of the kids, we were really watching because we've got a neighbor that's like, one piece of candy per bucket, one candy. Like
What's the magic word?
Yeah, and the kids
Please?
say, please,
No. It's trick or treat.
Anyway, so a couple of the kids, I saw them kind of pocket an extra one. And then towards the end of the night, we were just trying to get out of there. We were telling some of the kids to take more than one. So we had about 200.
What happened to the 60 pieces?
I've got 33 left.
Where are they?
They're in the dining room.
Oh, okay. Anything I like?
Yeah, you can go through them if you want. Stacy told me, my next door neighbor said that if we freeze them, they'll keep till next year.
Yeah.
So you can have as many as you want, though, honey. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that was it. And then last night, I hugged their necks and told Tomi Jean and Annette goodbye because I have to get up for work, on the Kid Craddock morning show.
No, she's thinking.
And I didn't get to see them this morning. But my daddy picked him up and took him to the airport. He loves doing that. He likes to get that little extra visit and time. And he's like, instead of Uber, call 1-800-GOOBER. That's his.
Oh, is that his
that's
bit?
His bit.
Okay.
He's Goober.
That's a good bit.
So that is everything you did or did not want to know about Tomi Jean and Annette's visit to Dallas and Fort Worth.
Seemed like they had a good time. It was fun watching the Rangers games with them. We watched. I watched two games with them. Yeah, yeah. We watched game 1 and then last night game 4.
Yeah.
And
it was a lot of fun. And Tomi Jean, she got home. They flew into Raleigh, Durham, and then drove back home. She lives in Timminsville. And she let me know she got home. And then about 30 minutes later, she goes, what time does the game start? So they're going to watch it tonight, even though, she's doesn't have a dog in this fight. She's watching and rooting for the Rangers.
So apparently this series has been one of the lowest rated TV rating series in the history of World Series.
Well, that's according to producer White Cheddar Robert Ehrman, who does Love Letters to Kelly with me.
Love letters to Kelly. Well, he must have read
podcast.
the article from the Fort Worth. What's their paper? Herald?
Telegram.
Star Telegram.
So you saw that article too?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, that's the problem is like if your team's not in it, do you care to watch?
Well, they had some interesting factoids.
And there's so many other options.
Well, that and the Arizona has been bad forever. The Rangers have been bad forever. And now they finally both had good seasons. And I didn't realize this. Both franchises are like in the middle of the league in attendance too. So they don't draw like their own fans to the park.
I thought the Rangers were doing well.
Well, they were like 10th or 11th in attendance overall.
How many baseball teams are there?
30.
Oh.
So they're right in the middle.
I thought that's why they built the indoor stadium so more people would come.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so
I
miserable.
know.
Well, we went to a few games. I think it's fun. And then next year will be good.
You know what I say to that? I say, so what? You know, I like the Rangers. I've been watching. It's fun to watch. I'm happy for them. And here's another thing. You're going to get me all wound up now because
I'm not doing anything.
Well, I was having this discussion with my brother-in-law and my dad. If you take yourself back to 1995.
Okay.
1995. You're a young, fledgling regional radio star.
Yes.
You had just moved to Dallas.
Yes.
In your 20s.
Yes.
Same, except I wasn't a regional radio star. I was in my 20s. And if you had told me that the Dallas Stars, and this is in 1995, 96, the Dallas Stars, the Dallas Mavericks, and then potentially the Texas Rangers would all win championships before the Dallas Cowboys would ever win another Super Bowl, I would say, give me a puff of that Mr. Puff Puff you're smoking right now, because it must be some good shite, because you're crazy.
That's what you would have said?
Yes, I would have said you're crazy. There's no way the sorry Stars, the sorry Mavericks, and the sorry Rangers will ever win a championship before the great Dallas Cowboys will. That's exactly what's happened.
Yeah.
Stars won one, and I looked all this up. Stars won one in 1999. The Mavericks won one in 2011, and the Rangers are getting ready to win one in 2023.
Unless something goes terribly awry.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Nobody will be happier that if it goes terribly awry than that one announcer, this commentator.
Oh, Schmaltz?
Whatever.
Schmaltz?
I don't really, Alan's way more into sports than I am, obviously, but I am loving this. But I'm sitting there like, what is he talking about? Everything he says about the Rangers is insulting, a backhanded compliment. And when they were playing Philadelphia, he was effusive about every little thing. Same thing with Diamondbacks. But does he have a problem with the Rangers?
Know. We can't figure it out.
It's crazy because JD, your brother-in-law, our brother-in-law, noticed that too, right?
Well, he'll just say crazy things like the Rangers won in a blowout last night, right? What was it, like 13 to
something? They came back a little bit at the end.
They
it was
did.
like 13-7 or something. I don't remember.
But Schmaltz says, there's no difference in the Rangers winning by 10 than there is the Diamondbacks losing by 10. He just says
by 1.
He just says stupid stuff.
He said something about there's no difference between being ahead by 10 or being ahead by 1 or something like that.
We're like
something random.
Like dummy, that's 9.
Like, okay.
I don't know. We just don't
know.
we don't get him. We think
he's obviously got a problem.
He's got a problem somehow with the Rangers. I'm not sure what it is though.
Anyway,
we
don't have a problem with the Rangers.
We have a problem with
him.
Yeah, we got a problem with him.
So anyway, that's that.
And I like John Smoltz when he pitched for the Braves. I used to like watching John Smoltz. I'm not sure why he's got it out for the Rangers, but whatever. So anyway, while Kelly was having all her pink lady girl time, the kid hops on a motorbike and heads south in the rain. And you might be asking yourself, why would you go riding a motorcycle in the rain? That's dumb. It's cold. It's raining. Why would you do that? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I had non-refundable hotels made because I'm cheap. So I made a couple of hotel reservations, and if I had not gone, I'd have just ate, $100 a hotel. I didn't want to do that.
What's the difference between non-refundable price and a refundable price?
About $20.
Oh, well.
Number two, I needed to complete my motorcycle grand tour of Texas stops because the deadline is this month, November the 15th. So I had like 7 more stops to make to complete my 25 stops. So that was another reason I went. Number 3, Kelly had friends in town, and when she has friends in town, I could be a freaking like cardboard cutout in the corner. She's gonna go do her stuff, and that's fine. But I'm not gonna.
We watch baseball with you.
I'm not gonna be a cardboard cutout in the corner. I'm gonna get on the motorbike and go.
We watch baseball with you.
Yeah, you did. So that's the reason I went. So I went to South I went south. I went towards the Austin area. I stayed a night in a town called Burnett. I stayed a night in a town called Bandera, which I've stayed at before. That happens to be the cowboy capital of the world.
Oh.
And I saw real cowboys there, like real cowboys. You know how you know a real cowboy from a poser cowboy?
No.
Real cowboy has really, really dirty boots. I saw a lot of real cowboys. They'd come in there.
Yeah, they're mucking around with manure.
Kicking shite and, herding cattle and doing cowboy stuff.
Yeah.
That's how you know. Like, I have boots. I'm not a real cowboy. My boots are real fancy. I got fancy, like, python boots, and they're real clean. These cowboys had leather boots. They're all muddy. The heels are all messed up. Yeah. So I saw some real cowboys. So I stayed.
There's a romantic notion to cowboys, right?
Yes.
Very romantic.
So I stayed in Bandera, and then I stayed a night in Austin because I couldn't make it all the way from Leakey back to Plano in one day, especially with the weather. The weather was horrible the entire time. It was the hardest, riding that I've done, since I've been riding. It was
more than the hailstorm you got on the way to Sturgis?
Yeah, because that lasted 10 minutes. This lasted all weekend. I mean, hours and hours and hours I'm riding, and it's like 38, 40, rainy. It was just hard because it was so cold. And when it's that cold, where I was riding, it's so windy and up and down and left and right that you got to go so slow. You got to be really careful because the roads are wet. And so it was just slow going, but it was still fun. It was still a lot of fun. I was telling Kelly I had a good time. I guess the highlight of the trip was I stopped at a town. One of my stops that I needed for the Grand Tour was to stop at a museum in this town called Johnson City. And I'd never been to Johnson City before, but it's a cool little hill country town. And in Johnson City, there's a museum called the Texas Vintage Motorcycle Museum. Never been there before. So I pull up to this thing and I walk inside, and just hundreds of, literally over 100 really cool vintage motorcycles. And the place had this neat vibe. They were like throw rugs everywhere and cool decorations on the wall, and there was cool music on, and it was just a neat vibe to it. So, I go in, and there was an old guy behind not a real old guy, a little older than me. I go to the counter, and he's behind the counter.
Were there any people in there?
No, I was the only one when I first got there. A couple other people came in, but I start talking to this guy, and if you talk to somebody who rides, you're automatic. It's like talking to another guy who golfs. You're automatic, or gal who golfs. You're automatically friends because you have something in common, right? So I start talking to this guy. His name's Gordon, and we're just shooting the bull, and he's asking me where I'm from, and hey, how do you like riding that bike? And we're just shooting the bull. So I felt kind of comfortable. I started asking him some personal stuff. I said, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how in the hell did you get all these motorcycles? I said, do you own all these? And he goes, yeah, I own every single one.
Because a lot of people don't loan things to museums just for, so we can all appreciate them.
Yeah. So I said, that's amazing. I said, this is like...
And how many bikes were there?
Over 100.
Over 100.
And BMWs, Harleys, Triumphs, Japanese bikes, Hondas, all Nortons, all these kind of obscure brands, that have come and gone.
All old.
All vintage. In really great condition, just really cool looking bikes. And he had a little placard on each one that would explain what it was. And so I said, how did you get all these? And he said, I said, what do you do? He said, well, I'm retired. And I said, well, that's cool. I said, what did you do? And he said, I was in the corporate field. And I said, oh, that's cool. I was in the corporate field too. I was like, well, what did you do? He said, I was the chief whistleblower at a company called AIG. And you've heard of AIG. It's a big, I think it's an insurance company or a big financial services company.
And that's a position you're hired to do? You're hired to be the whistleblower?
Yeah, he was an executive, a high up in the company.
But your title is whistleblower?
Chief whistleblower.
Huh.
So you're supposed...
I didn't know that was a title. I thought that was just like an action somebody took. Like, I'm not comparing it to a trader. I'm just saying you're a trader, but that's not your job title, but that's what you did, right? You know what I'm saying?
His title was chief whistleblower.
Okay. I didn't realize that was an actual position in a company. I just thought that was somebody that tattletaled on a company doing something
Yeah,
wrong.
whistleblower is a generic term for somebody who blows the whistle on somebody who's doing something wrong. This was this guy's job.
Oh, interesting. So he was hired to keep them honest.
That's right.
Okay.
He was hired to keep AIG honest.
Okay. Well, that I understand.
So he told me in 2005, and a lot of the financial companies were doing some shady stuff, and he blew the whistle on his own company.
That was his job.
That was what he was supposed to do. Well, he told me that he got fired. And he's like, I was just doing my job. So I'm summarizing kind of what he was telling me. But he said, I went to New York City and I hired the best lawyer I could find. And he said, I sued AIG for terminating me because I was just doing my job. They were doing shady stuff. I found out they were doing shady stuff and I blew the whistle. And I said, you guys are doing shady stuff. Somebody needs to stop this or report this or, we need to.
Because you can get really majorly fined and all that stuff.
Right.
But he got fired.
So he hires a lawyer, sues the company, and basically
he wins.
He wins. They settled with him, and he didn't tell me what the settlement was, but the guy wrote a book. Okay, he wrote a book about this whole story. So,
so he's sort of like a little famous person.
Yeah. So his name's Gordon Massey, and you can look him up. The book is called The Whistleblower's Dilemma, Confronting Fraud at AIG. This is the guy who owned the museum, the motorcycle museum in Johnson City that I visited.
So now we know how he could afford to buy over 100 vintage motorcycles.
So that's what he did. He said, so what I did, I retired. He said, I always tinkered with bikes in my garage, kind of like I do. He said, I always tinkered with them, but I never wanted to own a bunch of bikes. But he said, now that I had this huge influx of cash and I had nothing to do because I was retired, he said, I would travel and my wife would come with me and we'd go to these little towns and I'd see a Craigslist ad and I had lots of cash. And he said, I'd make people offers on these collectible bikes. And a lot of times they'd tell me, to go jump in a lake, but a lot of times they'd sell it to me. So he'd start collecting these bikes. And that's how he amassed this collection. He said, I also bought a house in Breckenridge. Must be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
does he charge people to go to the museum?
Yeah, like $5.
I was just wondering, he's literally doing it just as a thing he loves.
Yeah,
he's not doing it
just as a passion.
Because I can't imagine the foot traffic in Johnson City would be great.
Well, he said, he gets pretty good traffic because it's an hour from Austin. Austin's a big motorcyclist hotbed because you've got the cool roads that are so close. And he's really close to the Twisted Sisters, which a lot of motorcyclists go to. So he gets a lot of motorcyclist traffic through there.
Yeah.
And he's a sponsor of the Grand Tour. So, people like me would go and check out his bikes. But it was really cool. It was just a really interesting story. He was a really nice guy. I was wearing a bandana that I got at Sturgis, and it said Sturgis, the Sturgis rally on it, and I donated it to him. I said, do you have any interest in putting this up in your museum? Because I noticed you got all this cool stuff, memorabilia all over the walls. And he goes, yeah, heck yeah. So he took my bandana, and I guess he's going to put it up on the wall.
That could be his new bit. Whenever anybody comes in, he can start a bandana wall.
Yeah.
Because I remember going to a bar in Mexico and there were all these flip-flops hanging from the ceiling and everybody would leave a flip-flop.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe everybody you maybe started a trend.
Maybe.
With your first bandana.
But that was...
on your way to Bandera.
Yeah. But I didn't have any big dramas or boda matches on the trip. It was a pretty uneventful trip except for the weather. But that was definitely the highlight. Meeting that dude and then hearing his story and then... seeing all those bikes and hearing how he amassed this collection. I said, do you have to register all these and insure them? And do you ride these? And he goes, no. He goes, there's so many bikes in here. He said, they're drained of all the fluids. I take the batteries out and they're basically just art pieces now. Mm-hmm. They just sit there. He goes, I don't have the time or the energy to maintain all of these and ride them around the block or anything. They just sit there. Mm-hmm. They're just to look at. And I said, that is so freaking cool. That was like my dream.
Well, that's unusual that he did it like that, because I know a lot of car collectors that turn their collections into museums. They're all like the ones that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
The cars are still in working order and stuff, and they have to have mechanics working. But it's a lot of money. You have mechanics working constantly because you have to keep the cars moving.
Right.
Anyway, that's very interesting, honey.
Yeah, I thought that was
Somebody
cool.
asked me while you were gone, is Alan do this by himself? I'm like, yeah, I don't, staying in the state of Texas didn't really bother me. I thought, what can happen in the state of Texas? Because, he's when he goes 1,000 miles to Sturgis and back in 24 hours, well, one way in 24 hours. I said, that makes me nervous. But then today I'm checking my work emails, and there's an article that comes in saying that Texas, the state that I had no problem with you riding around by yourself in, is ranked the second most dangerous state for motorcyclists. The second most dangerous, behind, you know what the other number one is?
California.
Nope.
Florida.
Nope.
I don't know.
South Carolina.
Really?
I guess because they have a lot of motorcycle rallies in Myrtle Beach is the only thing I can think of.
Okay, give me, because I've heard that Texas is the number one state.
Well, this one says...
But tell me, how do they, what is the measurement?
Well,
what do you
mean?
mean?
Texas reported over 157 fatal crashes for every 100,000 registered motorcycles, the second highest total in the country.
Okay, so fatalities per 100,000
Yeah,
riders.
157.
Okay. All right.
South Carolina sits just ahead with more than 158. So it's like one person difference.
Okay.
158 deadly collisions per 100,000. But the study also showed Texas motorcyclists have the highest rates of collisions with fixed objects. Just under 39 incidents per 100,000. Fixed objects include like road signs, mailboxes, trees, low-hanging branches, things like that.
Yeah.
So that made me a little nervous.
Well, yeah, if you want to ever make yourself nervous, start Googling statistics about motorcycle riding for sure. Now, I've seen all these lists too, and I've seen that usually Texas is number one and number two.
The opposite end, 5 states home to the safest roads for motorcyclists: Montana,
yeah,
South Dakota, North Dakota, Arkansas, and New York.
I read that Montana actually has the most registered motorcycle riders
and the fewest deadly collisions.
Because they're out in the middle of nowhere.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Anyway, just be careful. I'd like you to ride with a friend.
Well, yeah, I have a buddy who I met in Sturgis, and I think I mentioned him on the podcast. He's a vet, and I rode with him up there in Sturgis, and I know he was out riding this weekend that I went down south, but I'm sure we'll ride again. Yeah, I mean, the thing, part of what makes motorcycling fun is there is a little danger component to it.
Yeah.
And
the adrenaline rush, I guess.
Yeah, and how can I explain this? I don't take this lightly. This isn't something that I got into thinking, oh, this is easy. This is safe. This is, you've got to, motorcycling is all about just minimizing your risk. All you can do is minimize your risk the best you can. And the way you do that is by training, practicing, wearing all your protective gear, being as smart as you can. And if you minimize the risk as best you can, you'll probably be okay. If you do dumb things like don't wear your protective gear, drink, don't practice your riding, ride too fast, show off, do those things, you're probably going to get hurt, Yeah. So that's, I think it's a lot of fun, and I don't have to do those things. I have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to drinking and riding. In fact, since I've been motorcycle riding, my drinking has gone way down.
Way down.
Because, I hate to say it, a lot of people will have a couple of drinks and they'll jump in a car. They'll have a beer and then jump in a car, or have 2 glasses of wine. Like, I'm good.
Below the legal limit.
Yeah.
For some people. Some people can't do that and be below the limit.
And then jump in a car. I have a zero drop tolerance policy, and I've stayed consistent with that on drinking and riding a motorcycle. Because I had a buddy who died. He crashed on his bike because he was drinking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you can read all kinds of different statistics and they'll make you really nervous if you want to really get into it. My thing is, it's a fun, safe sport if you treat it with respect and you do the right things, Does that mean you'll never have a problem? No. You can still have a problem. You can wreck by yourself. And that was one thing, being down in the hill country, I was like, man, if I slide off into a ditch somewhere,
that's the thing.
No one's going to find me for a couple of days. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's bad weather.
I have that thing find my phone on you, so I know approximately where you are.
You know approximately where I was.
I'm like, Alan's on this road and hasn't moved for a few hours. Might need to get somebody out there and check that.
Anyway. I'm not trying to get all serious, but I'm just saying
very heavy conversation. Honey.
Well, you
kind of brought the room down.
You can be stupid like on a bike or in a car, or you can be smart on a bike or in a car. And
on a podcast. You can be stupid or smart everywhere.
Well, I'm always stupid on a podcast.
Oh, there you are.
Right.
We are. When I was sitting outside doing the trick or treat candy with next door neighbor Stacy, and Factor came up.
Oh,
yeah. She's like, I've been wanting to try Factor. Have you heard of them? I'm like, I haven't just heard of them. They're sponsoring our podcast now, and I love it so much. Because we're our schedules are really kind of crazy, and now we're heading into the holiday season. It's going to be even more crazy. But Alan and I are both trying to eat, more nutritious meals that are, we want them to taste good. You want them to be delicious, but also really convenient. I'm not my desire is not to spend a lot of time in the kitchen. And that's why I love Factor so much. It's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service that helps you fuel up really quickly with breakfast, lunch, and dinner options, all chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered right to your door. And the difference with Factor is there's no shopping, no chopping, no prepping, no cleaning up. Factor's meals are fresh, never frozen. They are ready to enjoy after just 2 minutes. You heat them in the microwave, and that's it. You enjoy. And Factor has over 35 weekly meals that suit your meal preferences. The Calorie Smart meals, those are fabulous and are about 550 calories or less per serving. Protein Plus, if you're trying to get more of that. They have 30 grams of protein or more per serving. For the holidays, level up with Factor's Gourmet Plus options. Prepared to perfection by chefs, ready to eat in record time. And these have premium ingredients you can show off for your, guests, like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, things like that. Factor has an assortment of over 45 add-ons, crazy good breakfasts, cold pressed juices, shakes, smoothies, all delivered to your door. We ordered Calorie Smart. Alan, can you describe the sounds coming out of me when I was eating that chicken and mushroom tetrazzini?
I can. Oh,
y'all, It came with a side of garlicky green beans. I wanted to lick that tray.
And
it was so good.
And nom, 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 nom.
I'm telling y'all, it was so fabulous. So if you order from Factor, make sure, and I'm praying that it's on the menu when you order, the chicken and mushroom tetrazzini with garlicky green beans. You will not be disappointed. It's absolutely crazy. We love Factor.
So head to factormeals.com/sandwich50 and use code sandwich50 to get 50% off. That's code sandwich50 at factormeals.com/sandwich50 to get 50% off.
Yep, I'm going to make sure Stacy's listening to this podcast and gets that code because she wants to try it and she's going to love it.
Oh, just real quick, I had an unofficial stop. I wanted to stop into Lukenbach because I wanted a sticker. That wasn't one of my places I had to go, but I was down in that area anyway. So I swung through Fredericksburg. There was something I needed to see there. There was an old airplane at an airport that I needed to take a picture of.
I just want to congratulate, I guess that's the word, both of us for not automatically singing the song. Because every time someone says the word Lukenbach, Texas, people automatically break into song. And neither one of us did that. Now you want to really bad, don't you?
Yeah.
It's that urge. It's like coming up in your throat.
I know.
Plow through, babe.
Well, if you've never been to Lukenbach, it's not really a city. It's just a
little stop
it's like
on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's like a music venue.
Yeah.
It's an old.
It's surprising.
I think it used to be incorporated.
Yeah, it's like a big German settlement was there.
Yeah.
And I guess Lukenbach was the name of the family. But there's like a post office there, and it's a legit post office. It's been there.
Yeah.
And they've kind of modernized it and updated it. But I think the potbelly stove is still in it that's original to the structure and things like that. But it's basically a tourist stop. They have an outdoor performing stage and an indoor performing stage. And they have a place where you can buy beer and drinks and food and stuff. And people just go up there and hang out. And there's a stage, and you go there any random time of day, and there'll be somebody up there performing.
And that's what I did. It was cold and rainy, but I went over there, stopped in, picked up a few souvenirs. But then I went over to the dance hall, and there was a guy standing there at the door, and I thought he was taking like a cover charge or something. I asked him, he goes, "No, just walk in." So I walked in, and there were a bunch of people in there, but they were all so quiet. They were just sitting there, and they were listening to two gals on stage playing music. And then, so they played for a little while. Then one of the gals invited her boyfriend up, and then they started playing together, and they were really good. They were so good. So I sat in there and just listened to him for a little while, and then, I said, I gotta go.
It's really close to Fredericksburg.
Yeah, it's a
Alan
cool place.
and I, when he took me on my first RV trip, we stopped through Lukenbach, Texas.
Did we take the RV?
I'm not going to sing. Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah, that was cool. Lukenbach's a cool place, cool vibe. I know Susan wants to go. She was mentioning she wanted to go to Fredericksburg and do a couples thing or something.
Yeah, I just on Instagram, they give you all these suggested reels, and I've learned to stop clicking dog videos, no matter how cute they are, because then suddenly all I get are cute dog videos, and I can't see anybody I follow. But I guess based on some of my, I follow like 10 Star and company that do the cool cabins in Horchatown, they call it.
I thought it was Hokatown.
I thought it was Hokatown. Anyway, it's what do we call it? It's not. We don't call it that though. It's what is it in Oklahoma? Broken Bow. Broken Bow.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have this tiny house RV kind of community at Fredericksburg. And it was really, really cute. And so I sent that to everybody in our group. And now everybody's like, let's go. Let's do a girls trip or a couples trip.
Yeah. I'm down.
I don't know how much men want to go on a wine trip with a bunch of squawking ladies. Buzzed on wine.
Squawking's right. Boy, I drove by a bunch of really nice wineries, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all around Fredericksburg.
If you ever go to Fredericksburg, it's really cool. Usually you get like a VRBO or something like that, and they have a bus with several buses that they just go on this loop, and they just make stops at all the wineries. You can get on and get off wherever, you can go stay at this winery for a while. If you're not feeling it, you get back on the bus and go to another one, or you can just park it all day, whatever you want to do. You can also do private wine tours. Those are very, very pricey, but you could do those options. And then they have a main street that you can walk down. There's a few wineries there and gift shops and restaurants and things like that. But Fredericksburg at night shuts down.
All those towns do.
They shut down.
They shut down
There's
early.
like 2 restaurants open, maybe.
Yeah.
I know of one we went to, maybe 2. And that's it.
Everybody shuts down about 9.
Yep. And
8 or 9.
Earlier than that.
Yeah.
And you just go back to your VRBO and then just hang out with your girlfriends by the fire, drinking wine. That's what you do.
Oh, just real quick, babe, last story. So when I was in Bandera, cowboy capital of the world, I stay at this little place. It's called the Vaquero Motel.
Yeah.
And they're just they're like 10 cabins, like 1-room cabins, but really nice, clean, really nice inside. Well, I stayed there this year too. It's walking distance from the main drag there. So when I got to Bandera, I want to go get something to eat. So instead of like putting all my gear back on, I just walked. So I walk up to the restaurant, have dinner, and then I'm walking back. And by this time it's dark, it's windy, it's rainy, it's kind of spooky. We're getting near Halloween, So I'm walking down the hill, coming towards the Vaquero Hotel. And I'm walking by this kind of area where there's a lot of brush and trees and stuff to my right. And the wind's blowing,
It's pitch black.
It's pitch black. I can't see boo. wind's blowing, and you can hear all the rustling of the trees. You know, you could tell a cold front's coming in. It was just like, oh, this is kind of scary. So I hear stuff over to my right, like rustling in the trees. I'm like, what in the heck is that? Bigger than a rabbit, because little rabbits, they scurry, or bigger than a rat. You know, this was like a big animal. I'm like, what in the heck is it?
Am I about to be eaten?
Am I about to get eaten by like a bear or something? What is in there? So I get my phone out and I turn my light on and I flash the light just into the darkness. And there's like 3 sets of beady eyes looking right back at me. I'm like, they're looking at me. I'm looking at them. And I kind of like squint my eyes and get a little closer, and I could see it was deer.
Aw.
But so you would
If only you had a gun.
You would see 2. Well, they were all does.
Aww.
So you would see 2 eyes, and then they would turn to the side and walk. So then you'd see 1 eye. Then he'd look back, or she'd look back at me, and then you'd see 2 eyes.
It's like literally like a deer in a headlight, except your cell phone light.
Totally froze when I shined the light at them. But yeah, it was deer, and I saw deer all weekend everywhere.
Oh,
There were so many. I don't know if it's because the cold weather was bringing them out or what.
I don't know.
But I saw herds of deer, and a lot of deer on the side of the road too, like dead deer.
Aw.
A lot of deer. But that's deer area down there, deer country.
Must be getting close to deer hunting season, I guess.
I thought it was.
I don't know when anything is.
I thought it was over.
I don't know.
All right, babe. Well, this was good. That's good stuff.
We're getting back to our routines now, heading into the holiday crunch, y'all. I'm getting it done.
You're getting it done?
Yeah, I've already got some Christmas presents bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For me?
I got you 2.
Really?
2 presents. Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay.
What you got me?
I got you a shirt.
It's not for Christmas, but it is my Lukenbach Texas shirt.
I got Kelly a Lukenbach Texas shirt and an ornament that she instantly threw shade on.
Well, it's a Texas ornament, but it looks like a noose hanging off of it.
Well, it's not a noose.
I think it's supposed to be a lasso.
It's a lasso.
But it looks like a noose.
Well, it's not a noose. Why would I get you a Fredericksburg
I know. I was like, why does it have a noose on it?
Ornament with a noose on it.
No.
It was a lasso.
Which is basically a noose.
Well, I love you desperately.
Love you.
I love the Texas Hill Country desperately. I love the Texas Rangers desperately.
Maybe the World Series champs by the time you hear this podcast. I don't know.
Still 0-0, top of the third. So go Rangers. But I'm sure we'll podcast again real soon. And in the immortal words of the great Keanu Reeves, life is good when you have a good sandwich.